In that instant, James unexpectedly drew closer and captured my lips with his. Then James drew nearer and once more pressed his lips against mine, his hands gliding down from my neck, first to my waist, then to my hips. Welcome to iFire Story. Catch gripping Reddit tales of family drama, cheating wives, and betrayal. Subscribe for shocking daily stories that'll keep you hooked. 5 years had passed since my divorce, and at 45, I found myself spending each of those years in solitude during the night. Until that fateful Tuesday night. That night will forever remain etched in my memory. As I reclined in bed, the fatigue enveloping me resembled a dense, comforting shroud. The house was enveloped in silence, as it always was. Yet this time, the tranquil hush was fleeting. A knock echoed through the stillness, drawing my attention to the door. Gentle, uncertain. I blinked awake and propped myself up. In the shadows of the room, an unsettling sensation lingered. "James," I exclaimed. "Mom," came my son's voice, a soft murmur in the shadows. The door let out a soft creak as James made his entrance. He appeared hesitant in his pajamas. Yet those had transformed beyond mere children's sleepwear. They are the possessions of a 21-year-old individual. The look on his face ignited a fierce sense of protectiveness within me. However, I couldn't shake off a sense of discomfort. "I can't sleep," he finally admitted, his gaze fixed on the floor. "Come here," I urged, gesturing to the vacant space beside me on the bed. After a brief pause, he made his way over and nestled beneath the blanket. The bed emitted a soft creak under his weight. At that moment, we found ourselves lying next to each other, mere inches apart. James's warmth was instantly apparent. I made an effort to avoid his gaze. Yet from the periphery of my vision, it was undeniable that he had shed his childhood. He had matured into a young man. His features had become more defined. His shoulders had expanded. That moment filled me with both embarrassment and confusion. "Mother," he whispered, his gaze directed at me. I'm at a loss, honestly. At times, a profound sense of solitude envelops me within these walls. His voice was so delicate that I found myself unable to reply. Instead, I extended my hand and rested it gently on his shoulder. In that instant, without a moment's pause, he faced me and embraced me firmly. I was taken aback by the intensity of his embrace. His arms encircled me completely, his face hovering near my neck. His heartbeat resonated within me. His breath flowed with a warm, steady rhythm. Yet what truly astonished me was how I began to mirror that response. As I embraced him in return, an unusual flutter ignited within my chest. James's face inched closer to my neck, his breath caressing my skin. At times, it feels overwhelming, he murmured softly. I am present, I murmured. I am consistently present. Yet deep down, I felt a sense of unease. My heart raced, and I struggled to comprehend why this warmth enveloped me so intensely. James's actions carried a certain purity, without a doubt. Yet his embrace was more enveloping than I had imagined, his warmth more intimate than I had foreseen. Thank you, Mom, he whispered softly. With his eyes shut, at last, his breath began to steady. He had drifted off, yet I remained wide awake. As I rested there, utterly motionless, a single question whirled relentlessly through my thoughts. What on earth just transpired this evening? The embrace from James felt far too personal, and what troubled me even more was my inability to simply dismiss it. As dawn broke, James remained peacefully slumbering beside me. The initial beams of dawn illuminated his features. I found myself captivated by him. He still appeared pure, yet within me, I sensed a chaotic knot of emotions. I reclined my head against the pillow, inhaling deeply. I required some time to understand the events of last night. However, there was one undeniable truth. This was no ordinary night. The dawn broke. Soft rays of sunlight filtered into my room, gently rousing me from slumber. In that moment, I understood that I was still burdened by the emotions that had churned within me throughout the night. James remained in a profound slumber. I quietly slipped out of bed and made my way to the kitchen. I required a moment of solitude, and I aimed to create something quietly so as not to disturb him. James typically rose late in the mornings, yet today I felt an urgent need to quell the restlessness stirring within me. As I grappled with my reflections from the previous night, I began to assemble the components for pancakes. Moments later, James started to awaken. I noticed him sneak in a look from behind the door, his eyes barely open. "Good morning," he said. Yet, an oddity lingered in his tone. He conveyed a sense of weariness while also being cautious. "Good morning, darling," I said, gazing at him. I was doing everything I could to maintain a sense of normalcy. While I flipped the pancakes, I sensed James's eyes on me. His gaze held a unique quality that set it apart from the ordinary. His demeanor was less detached than it typically was. It felt as though he was observing my every action, noticing even the smallest details of my behavior. I awoke gradually, the comforting embrace of the kitchen enveloping me. Yet, the increasing discomfort within me also grew. James's gaze, reminiscent of the previous night, was fixed on me once more this morning. Yet this time, an unusual intensity radiated from them. I observed it. His gaze wasn't merely fixed on me. It was thoroughly examining me. They were outlining the contours of my form, and I was acutely aware of it. For a brief moment, I attempted to disregard his gaze, yet I could feel that he had noticed my discomfort. Deep within, I sensed my heart begin to quicken. Yet I put in the effort to maintain my composure, to behave as if all was completely ordinary. James's demeanor had changed as well. Typically, he exuded a relaxed, serene, and joyful demeanor around me. Yet this morning, an unmistakable gap lingered. He had established a boundary, yet it seemed as though he was seeking the bravery to cautiously step beyond it. His eyes, illuminated by the morning light, gazed at me as if he had something to express. Yet I found myself unable to pinpoint exactly what it was. I set the pancakes on a plate and offered it to him. "Relish it," I remarked, with a hint of melancholy. As James grasped the plate, his fingers wrapped around it for just an instant, and our gazes locked for a brief moment. Once more, it seemed as though he was attempting to uncover something more profound within me. I observed the anxious glimmer in my own gaze. Yet James remained silent. He simply took a seat at the table. During breakfast, he avoided making direct eye contact with me entirely. Yet, with each movement I made, his eyes would drift from the ceiling, returning to me with that familiar yet distinct intensity. It felt as though he was acutely attuned to every little action I took. This was an unprecedented experience for us. The chaos within me intensified. A voice inside urged, "It's time to unravel this mystery immediately." Yet I remained uncertain about what this truly was. James's glances and behavior stirred a profound emotional turmoil within me. In the kitchen, enveloped by the comforting aroma of pancakes, an unusual tension hung in the air. A feeling was awakening within me. Yet, I held my ground against it. I could feel James's gaze fixed on me. All I ever desired was to fulfill my role as a mother. This morning was meant to revolve solely around breakfast. Yet the warmth and unease flowing within me as the sunlight inched closer, they seemed to embody something altogether unique. As night drew near, a heaviness began to settle upon my eyelids. There was an unmistakable shift in the air. I sensed it, yet I couldn't quite grasp what it was. As the night deepened, the solitude in my room became more oppressive. Yet this time, a change was palpable. James's demeanor toward me appeared to be transforming into something different. As I gradually succumbed to slumber, I noticed myself intermittently fluttering my eyelids throughout the night. An inexplicable sensation washed over me, a premonition of sorts, yet its nature remained elusive. Out of nowhere, a sound pierced the silence. My eyes slowly opened, revealing the world around me. In the dimly lit room, a shadow crept forward, its movement deliberate and slow. A quiver ran through me, taken aback. For a brief moment, everything became indistinct. But then it dawned on me that silhouette belonged to James. He entered the room through the slightly ajar door. My eyes flew open, and my heart raced wildly. In the stillness of the night, my son found his way into my room. Even though I was aware that sleep was expected of me, James's eyes shimmered in the shadows with a fervor that brought back memories of the previous night. For a brief instant, I endeavored to sharpen my focus. What was I meant to do? The turmoil within me intensified with each passing moment. James's presence in my room at this hour was peculiar, yet it carried a sense of resonance. This time, however, it was unlike before. His gaze, his presence, the manner in which he approached me, it all held significance. James advanced another step. He edged nearer, and with the last remaining illumination in the room, the moonlight, I could discern his features a bit more distinctly. His eyes held a fierce resolve that I had never witnessed before. Deep within, a voice cried out for attention. "Refrain! Cease this immediately!" In that instant, James unexpectedly drew closer and captured my lips with his. Everything unfolded in a heartbeat. In that instant, time stood still. The world around me paused. In that moment, it seemed as though the universe was whirling around me, yet I remained still. My son, merely a heartbeat away. As he pressed his lips against mine, a whirlwind of emotions surged within me, intertwining in a beautiful chaos. This was not an expectation a mother holds for her child. In that moment, it felt as if my heart began to race uncontrollably. I swiftly withdrew and attempted to shove him away. "Hold on," I insisted, my voice trembling with urgency. My words appeared to dissolve into the atmosphere, akin to a fleeting whisper. James withdrew, a hint of what appeared to be disappointment lingering in his gaze, yet he remained, towering in the space. "James, this doesn't seem correct. Please refrain from this action." My voice quivered, my mind whirled, and my skin glistened with perspiration. The emotions within me were beyond my control. The way my son approached me was both terrifying and complicated. Yet, I couldn't overlook the attention, the concentration he was directing towards me. Yet, this felt all wrong. Must I always be a mother then? The profound intensity in my son's eyes, a look I had never encountered before, stirred my very core. My heart raced intensely, as if it might explode. Yet I understood the necessity of regaining my composure. James paused for a moment, stepping back to reassess the situation. He stayed quiet, not uttering a single word. Yet the stillness thickened within the shadows. Then James drew nearer and once more pressed his lips against mine, his hands gliding down from my neck, first to my waist, then to my hips. Despite my best efforts to convince myself to quit, the temptation was simply too strong to ignore. That night, whatever transpired had transpired. As the morning light filtered in, I found myself grappling with the events that had unfolded. James was absent, leaving me solitary in the room. I inhaled deeply, attempting to regain my composure. I departed the house in silence. My eyes reflected a deep fatigue, while my chest felt hollow and devoid of feeling. My footsteps were burdened, as if I had wandered into the unknown. As I grappled with my inner turmoil, one truth stood clear. I had to unravel the mystery of what had transpired. I found myself pondering my emotions, yet with every fleeting moment, the situation appeared increasingly intricate. That night, whatever transpired had transpired. By morning, everything seemed like a surreal tapestry, intricately woven and tangled. With aching eyes and a racing heart, I stepped out of the house in silence. I attempted to conceal the events that transpired between James and myself. In my quest for clarity, I resolved to stifle every feeling, to wipe the slate clean. Yet, there was a fracture within me. I found myself in a state of introspection. What caused this confusion within me? I found myself adrift in this turmoil. My son, had transcended the bounds of childhood. But was I still perceiving him as a child? Was I deceiving myself? What steps should I take? All these questions lingered in my thoughts, yet they stayed unresolved. Thanks for watching iFire Story. If you love this gripping tale, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring the bell for more shocking Reddit stories about family drama, infidelity, and betrayal. Drop a comment with your thoughts, and we'll see you in the next story. Stay hooked.